Welcome to the Dale Lolley Show here on the DK Pittsburgh Sports Podcast Network. I am your host, Dale Lolley, and Steelers training camp day 12. Apparently, we got to start building the arcs out here in Latrobe. The Steelers forced to move their practice to Tuesday morning at 10:30 because of rain in the afternoon. They just got it in today, and the rain's let loose again. But the Steelers did get another physical practice in the books, and once again, the offense showing up here with in what probably will be the last padded practice of this week. The offense goes out winning the 7-shots drill 5-2, and then looking good in some of the short. Or they did a red zone drills at the end of practice, and the offense did a good job there as well. Mitch Trubisky putting the offense in the end zone on 3 of his 4 attempts in this, and looking good doing so. The first 2 snaps of the drill were runs to Benny Snell. Snell got in once, was stopped short of the goal line by Terrell Edmonds on his first opportunity, but then got in on his next trip. Trubisky then threw a nice pass to George Pickens in the back of the end zone. Pickens got a little toe tap in there just inside the end line. And then on the next play, Trubisky rolls to his left at the snap. It was a designed rollout. They moved Pickens was stacked on his right behind Chase Claypool. And at that point, actually, the Trubisky pass for the touchdown was actually a pass to Claypool, not George Pickens. But on the next play, Trubisky rolls to his left, and it was immediately on the snap. Pickens had gone in motion, and the defense went with him. Trubisky just rolls right into the end zone and goes in untouched, showing a nice burst there. And I think that's really something that's going to be underrated in his game this year. I think it's something that's being underrated perhaps in his game. Mitch Trubisky's looked pretty good here over the last week. And, I think when you look at everything that he's done here, I think even some of the interceptions, maybe some of the struggles that he was having earlier in this camp were largely because he was trying some things out, testing some things out. If you remember, Ben Roethlisberger talked about doing that last year with guys like Pat Freiermuth, putting the ball in spots where only they could catch it, or seeing what their catch radius was, things of that nature. So I think Trubisky was doing some of that early on in this camp. And you can do that when you feel like you are the guy. And so whether he was told that he was the guy or whether he just felt that way all along, I think we've seen quite a bit of that from Trubisky, because he has really turned it on here of late. Again, the pass to Claypool in the back of the end zone for that first touchdown pass. Trubisky spotted him. Claypool started out in the slot on that play, and he had Pickens to his outside. So the defense dropped into a zone. Claypool got along the end line, and Trubisky didn't float the pass. He fired it in where only Claypool was going to have a chance to catch it, and pulled that pass down. Did a nice job again of getting his toes down in the back of the end zone. But that's a field pass. Like, you don't throw that pass to Deontay Johnson or Anthony Miller or one of the other smaller receivers on the team. That's knowing who the receiver was and saying, okay, I'm going to put this where this guy can go get it. And so I think you're starting to see more of that comfort zone with Mitch Trubisky. So I think this guy, the things are only looking up with him for sure. Mason Rudolph also got the team into the end zone on his one chance. He took the third team snaps in this one. Kenny Pickett was 0 for 2 or 1 for 2 in the 7-shots drill. Missed Gunnar Olszewski, in the end zone, but kind of overthrew him in the back corner. It was good coverage on the play. And then Pickett rolled to his right, again, moving that pocket and hit wide open Jaylen Warren in the flat for a touchdown. Warren, again, he's the guy that I really, if you're looking for a camp phenom here from this Steelers training camp, it's Jaylen Warren. I mean, this kid can play. And I think he's really kind of pushing Benny Snell And that's brought out some better play from Benny Snell as well. So that's what you want. You want that kind of competition there. Warren had the run of training camp. He took a handoff, found a little hole in the middle, kind of off left guard, and burst through the defense, made a nice cut to his left, and then got out into the open there. And it took 4 defensive backs to get him on the ground. I mean, he is a load. It was about a 15-yard run, but boy, it was as nifty a 15-yard run as you'll see for a guy, a big power back like that. So it was a good day for Jaylen Warren. He just continues to impress. I really think that the Steelers are starting to find a little something with that running game as they get more and more physical. I'm going to be interested to see how that looks when they play the Seahawks on Saturday. Wouldn't surprise me if Mike Tomlin plays that offensive line unit as a group for at least a quarter in this game, just to give them a chance to gain a little continuity here. And as I said before, everybody was asking, well, how long is it going to take this offensive line to gel? And then, after a couple of days of practice, we're like, how come this offensive line isn't gelling yet? Why doesn't it look good? Well, that's the way it goes. It is going to be a work in progress for that offensive line. But I will tell you this, they seem to have settled on a left guard. And it's not just because Kevin Dotson got hurt. In fact, Mike Tomlin saying today when they were doing one-on-ones and it was Kendrick Green going up against Cam Hayward, and Tomlin yelling at Kendrick Green, come on, KG. We got one dog, one bone here now. And some of that's because Dotson was hurt. But honestly, it's because they also, Kendrick Green's kind of winning that battle a little bit. So, yeah, I mean, I think that's something that you want to see here. You want to see one of those guys take a step forward and win that job. And I think we've seen Kendrick Green start to do that. Of course, Kevin Dotson dealing with a little bit of an ankle injury. All kinds of stuff kind of happening out here at training camp. And of course, the Steelers have just 2 days of practice remaining here before they head back to Pittsburgh for their first game at Acrisure Stadium. And it's going to take, I know, fans a long time to get used to saying Acrisure Stadium, but they'll get used to it. Trust me, you will. But we're going to take a break. We come back with more here in just a bit on the Dale Lolley Show here on the DK Pittsburgh Sports Podcast Network. Welcome back. I am Dale Lolley. This is the Dale Lolley Show here on the DK Pittsburgh Sports Podcast Network. And on Tuesday, Roger Goodell, the NFL commissioner, met with reporters for a meeting that was supposed to be specifically about approving the sale, that the league approved the sale of the Denver Broncos. But it turned into Goodell talking a lot about what's going on with the Deshaun Watson situation. Of course, the league appealed that 6-game suspension decision. And he was asked why the league is seeking, which what they're seeking here is a 1-year suspension of Deshaun Watson. And Goodell said, and I quote, because we've seen the evidence, according to the NFL Network. Judge Robinson was very clear about the evidence. There were multiple violations here, and they were egregious, and it was predatory behavior. Those are things we felt were important for us to address in a way that's responsible. That's very important to note here. This is the NFL gets to appoint or has appointed the arbitrator who will now hear the appeal of the 6-game suspension. And that guy's his name is Peter Harvey. he kind of works for the league here. So the Cleveland Browns are in a little bit of trouble here in terms of what's going to happen in the 2022 season. Because I'm going to tell you right now, everybody's kind of been complaining since Judge Sue Robinson came out with that 6-game suspension. It's going to be more than that, folks. It's going to be way more than that. And it could end up being the entire season. And suddenly, the Cleveland Browns season just looks like it's going to be just a disaster. Now, do they make a trade for Jimmy Garoppolo or do something in that regards? Maybe. If it turns out that Deshaun Watson is done for the year, I think that's what the San Francisco 49ers are kind of waiting for here, because they don't want to have to release Jimmy Garoppolo. They'd love to be able to trade him. But then if you're the Browns, how long does it take you to get Jimmy Garoppolo up to speed? And is Jimmy Garoppolo healthy enough? Remember, he had off-season shoulder surgery. Nobody's seen him throw a football. It's not like he's working out with the 49ers right now. They told him to stay away. So, Cleveland is probably going to have to see him throw before they would make any kind of move. It's just a disaster. And, for Steeler fans, I'm sure you have to like what you see when a team kind of self-destructs like that within your division. People keep asking me, why am I talking about what's going on with the Browns? What's a division team? And all I heard all offseason long, well, the Steelers have they have the worst quarterback situation in the AFC North. Do they? I don't think so. Not with Deshaun Watson looking at a season-long suspension. That's just not reality. The reality is that Cleveland, once again, is in a mess. And this one's completely of their own doing. There's no reason for them to be in this situation other than they saw an opportunity to try to game the system to acquire Deshaun Watson. And certainly not on cheap, but that's neither here nor there. They're paying him a lot of money. They're going to give him a lot of money this year to probably not play football. That's going to do it for the Dale Lolley Show here on the DK Pittsburgh Sports Podcast Network. We appreciate you listening. We'll see what happens with all that, and we'll start seeing some games being played here across the NFL as week 1 of the NFL preseason starts to take place this week. It'll start Thursday, I believe. So we'll start to see some games here, start to see some injuries as well. And, you see if the Steelers can make it through the preseason unscathed. That's always a big key. And that's why teams are trying to limit the contact for some of their star players, Steelers among them, holding guys like Cam Hayward, TJ Watt out of some of these. Even though they have a lot of contact drills, they still do that. But you can hear all of our shows here on the network. Listen to our Penn State, Pirates, Steelers, Penguins. We got Pittsburgh sports covered in a way that nobody else does here in the Burgh. I'll be back again tomorrow to give you more on the Dale Lolley Show.